Hi everyone, welcome back to another What We Eat in a Week video. We have a whole bunch of different foods going on for this week. So starting out, I am making some strawberry jam for my husband's birthday cake. This was his birthday week and I thought it would be fun to include what I made for him for his birthday. So like I said, starting off with birthday cake, I'm making strawberry jam. There's no real recipe to like make this an official jam with pectin or anything. I'm just taking some strawberries, cutting them up, adding some sugar, lemon zest, and lemon juice, and letting that get thick on the stove before I take an emulsion blender and blend it all together so it's more of a jam consistency. And then I stick it back on the stove a little while longer to thicken, and then while that is going, I'm going to start on my cake. This is one of those instances where, you know what, I don't make absolutely everything homemade, and I ended up just making him a box cake. I followed the directions. It wasn't anything fancy or special, but it was cake. So I made him this box cake. It was just vanilla. And then I will also add on later some whipped cream as well to finish it off as the frosting for the cake. And while the cake is baking, I'm going to start on his main dinner, which was shepherd's pie. This was something that I had not made at all until about last year. He requested it, I think, not for his birthday, but for something else. He really wanted to have shepherd's pie. So I made it and we loved it and it's delicious. So I'm starting off by making mashed potatoes. I'll leave all the recipes that I can from what I've used down in the description box below. I'm pretty sure I found this recipe off of Pinterest, I'm almost positive. But starting off with my mashed potatoes, getting those boiling in water, and then getting my veg ready for my meat mixture for the shepherd's pie part of the dish. So I have some carrots going, and then I also have some celery before adding in some onions and getting those sauteed in my pan. And I also ended up adding some mushrooms too, just because we had them. I like to see what I have lying around that I can throw into whatever dish I'm making, and mushrooms made the cut this time. I'm adding onion powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, some really good butter, all the usuals, and letting that get nice and soft. And then once everything has cooked down pretty well, I'm adding ground turkey. Shepherd's pie is traditionally lamb, but we like turkey over here. And then I have some frozen tomato paste, little circles that are on some wax paper or parchment paper. And I saw this, I don't even remember where, but it's a good way to save your tomato paste because you don't ever usually need the whole can. And so I just took little spoonfuls of it and froze it in between some layers of parchment paper and then pulled it out when I needed some tomato paste, which happened to be for this recipe. So I just threw it on in there and let it get warm, and then added some chicken stock to help thicken it up. And then I believe I also put in a little bit of my sourdough starter to help the whole mixture get thick. I've been really loving doing that as opposed to flour. And then I will make my mashed potatoes. When my potatoes are done, I have been using Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt for quite some time, as opposed to sour cream. We like it a lot better. And then I just mash that all on up with garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, all the usuals. And then once my meat mixture is set here, I'm gonna put it in my 9x9 pan and then add my mashed potatoes on top, and then top those with some shredded cheddar cheese. And this came out so good. It is always so good. You literally can't do anything wrong when it comes to making shepherd's pie. It is truly delicious. And once my cake is cooled, I'm going to cut it in half, add my jam, and then top it with my whipped cream so we can have it after our shepherd's pie dinner. And this was also really good. It's strawberry jam and whipped cream and cake. And you can't go wrong. Next up is a breakfast item, which I would like to incorporate more breakfasty bits into these what we eat in a week videos. And I'm trying my hand here at a Dutch baby. It came out alright, not as well as I would have liked, and I think I know what went wrong. I will also link the recipe for this down in the description box. Always check down there if you're curious to see the recipes that I'm using in my videos. But I think my problem was that my cast iron pan wasn't quite hot enough. I get a little bit nervous with our oven because it's very old, so I don't love to turn the heat up super high, and this recipe kind of calls for that. You kind of have to get the pan really hot, add your butter like I am, and then add your mixture, your Dutch baby mix, and then throw it back in the oven and let it puff up really well. And it did come out good. It still tasted good, but it didn't puff up the way I've seen it happen before. If you've made a Dutch baby, let me know in the comments if this also happened to you. Was it just the fact that my pan wasn't hot enough? Regardless, it came out really good. Would be delicious topped with some fresh fruit. Next up, I don't remember if I did this in my last video or not, but we have been loving roasted whole chickens. I take the chicken, take out the neck and everything, and then I add a whole bunch of fresh lemons. I cut them in half, and then I stick all those lemons inside of the bird. I think it helps keep the chicken really moist and really tender. So I will put all those lemons in there before patting the top of the chicken dry, putting on some olive oil, and then a real generous amount of salt, really good salt, pepper, and a little bit of paprika, and then I throw it in the oven and roast it until it is cooked, and it is so good. I don't know why it's so good, but it also allows me to have a chicken carcass for lots and lots of chicken broth, which I have been making on the regular for all of the winter season. And with a dinner like this, I will just add some roasted veg to serve alongside. So I have some Brussels sprouts here. I do pretty much the same thing every single time. Salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. Sometimes I will add a little bit of Parmesan to make it a little extra crispy and crunchy. I didn't do that tonight though. And then to mix up our sweet potato game, because we also eat a lot of sweet potatoes, I'm making sweet potato mash, which also came out good, and a loaf of bread to serve alongside this. But I would prefer like a roasted sweet potato or regular mash. This was still fine and tasty, but it wouldn't be my preferred mash. But I did just add butter, brown sugar, and a little bit of cinnamon, and it came out Very tasty, but again, not one that I prefer, but it is fun to mix it up every now and again. And for one of our last meals here, again, more chicken. We eat a ton of chicken over here. I have some chicken thighs, and I'm just adding olive oil, really good olive oil, salt, pepper, and some rosemary, throwing those in the oven. I like to use the thighs because if I put a whole bunch of olive oil on the top of them and throw them in the oven at a high temperature, they get really nice and crispy. So we have that cooking in the oven while I have some carrots. This is not a lot of carrots. This was pretty much what can I throw together in like a half an hour because we're hungry kind of a dinner. So I have some carrots roasting with olive oil again, salt, pepper, a little bit of brown sugar, and I think I put a little bit of rosemary in there as well. And then as another version of, this was a heavy sweet potato week for us, I decided to just do some pan fried, almost like roasted hash sweet potatoes, but I cooked them in coconut oil. That has been my new favorite cooking oil as of late, with again really good salt, a little bit of pepper. And then for this I also added honey because I didn't want to have too much sweet going on with a brown sugar carrot and then a sweetened sweet potato hash, but it came out very tasty. I would definitely, I think, flip-flop the carrots and the sweet potatoes how I cooked them, but it still came out really well. A very quick, easy 30-minute meal to get on the table. And last but not least, it is our final chicken dish of the video. This is one I have made a handful of times, but I don't think I've ever talked about it. I have some chicken drums here, and I'm going to season them with salt, pepper, olive oil, oregano, and some lemon juice, and then throw them in the oven and cook them about 3/4 of the way. And while that cooks, I'm going to get some onion chopped up because once the chicken is about 3/4 cooked, we're going to pull it out of the pan and then add some onion, a little bit of salt, pepper just to season it, a splash of olive oil, and then some rice. And then we're going to let the rice cook with some chicken broth in the oven, and then we're going to add the chicken back when the rice is about, again, 3/4 of the way cooked, and then put the chicken back in so everything can finish cooking together. And the rice is just super tasty and extra fluffy. I don't know why, but it comes out so good every single time, and it is a really nice one meal dish. That is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite meal was and what else you'd like to see from me in the future. I make 2 new videos every single week on all things homemaking, sourdough, and country living, and I will see you in my next video.